started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Drop the Mic, Share the Mission in End Solo Leadership. I am Jennifer Snapp. I am an educational improvement consultant, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleague.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Carla Postell, and I too am an educational improvement consultant and excited to be here with you this afternoon.
So, Matt has dropped the sign-in link or Jeremica, and there's also on the next screen, there is a QR code if you prefer that. Please make sure that you sign in so that we can give you your sketchies, and you can get credit for this. Today's agenda, we're going to give you a hearty welcome in just a moment, but we're going to first, after that, we're going to talk about the problem with solo leadership, reframing delegation, shared leadership in action, some strategies and tools, and then we're going to do a closing and a call to action. We'll give you a second to get the link or to scan the QR code. We can go ahead and advance. So welcome again. Raise your hand or you can just put in the chat if you've ever said, it's just easier if I do it myself. Me. Oh, 100%. Love it. Too often. Yeah, I feel you there. Yes. So it seems like the majority of us are in agreement that we have said it's just easier if I do it myself. Well, think about this as you look at the next slide. Think about why do we hold on to everything? What's the cost? So as Matt advances the slide, which picture represents you and your team? The first one, where the one person is hula hooping, trying to balance it all, or the picture to the right, where the team is collaborative. So what I would like for you to do is to put it in chat, or you can come off of your mic and just share with all of us. Why do we hold on to everything? And what's the cost? We would like for this to be an engaging session. Okay, so some people have put their last response in. No takers? All right. Thank you. I feel I enjoy teamwork when needed. That's nice. Okay. And there are some times where we just need to do it by ourselves because it's all in our heads, at least we think it is, and we think that it'll be a better product. But what is the old adage? Two heads are better than one. The feeling that I know, let me see, the feeling that I know what needs to be done, so it's easier by myself. Yes, that's what I was saying. So Hobbins, I'm gonna call you Hobbins by what's on the screen. It's all here in our heads, and we just know I can get this done quicker because I know where everything is. I know just how I want it. Thank you so much for sharing. And we'll go ahead and advance to the next slide. So now think about this. What does it do to staff morale when the leader does everything or designate the same people? So again, I'm going to ask you to share what happens. I'll repeat the question for you. What does it do to staff morale when the leader does everything or designates the same people to do task after task? What does that look like? What does that feel like? Christy says, I feel devalued. Yes. Think about students when the teacher calls on the exact same students all the time. The other students eventually they just kind of fly away because they say they're not going to call on me anyway, so why should I even volunteer? Adults feel the same thing because at end of the day, we are just big little people, right? So yes, we feel devalued. So when we think about resentment or disengagement or apathy, yes, burnout and stress for the leader and a feeling for others that they are no longer necessary. So they walk away. We say fly away. That's that flight response sometimes. And so the problem with solo leadership, some of the common reasons are fear of losing control, doubt others can't do it right. And that's why we hold on to that leadership piece. You know what? I'm the leader. I have it all in my head. I can do it all along. And then sometimes lack of time to train or lack of trust. We don't believe that another person can do it as well as we can, or we just don't have time to explain it. So therefore, we do it all by ourselves. But here are some consequences which you already identified: burnout, bottleneck decision making, and missed leadership development, or I would say missed opportunities to develop other leaders. So there are people that are on your team that will be great leaders, but because we have not entrusted them or valued them enough to take over something, a task that I may not really have time to do as a leader, but I don't want to give it away, then that's a missed opportunity for others to let their leadership skills shine. Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Carla.
Next slide, please. And so, thinking about that solo leadership, we kind of want to shift the thinking to how you can begin to reframe solo to delegation and including others. And we say others, not just that same person, but getting everyone involved. And when we talk about delegation, it's not just about dumping tasks onto people, but actually developing their leadership, knowing that someone may be good at organizing, someone may be good at the professional development ideas in your building and gathering those to find out the needs of the staff, learning who and what you have in your building. And yes, if you have any questions, please feel free. Oh, that's Matt. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask. See, it's always the teacher in me. But what we want you to do is to begin to think about reframing the delegation, which number one we have here is alignment, aligning tasks with strengths and growth areas, which is what I kind of mentioned, thinking about those that you have as part of your staff and being able to assign some of those tasks off of your plate to theirs, and being able to next communicate, which is the key component. Communicating the why behind the task, why you are doing, and not just you, we, it would be the whole building, the whole community, why you're doing what you're doing. And then creating accountability with support, not micromanaging. So you assign the task, and I know that's something that I had to learn over years, not wanting to be a micromanager because I don't like being micromanaged, to be quite honest, but learning to say, hey, I may do it A, B, C, they may do it X, Y, Z, but the task is getting done. And even though it may be burning you up inside, dropping some of that off of your plate and allowing the person that you've given that task to be able to see it through. So alignment, communicating the why, and then the accountability piece. So keeping those things in mind and reflecting on your own practice and what you perhaps need to tweak a little bit, we want you to take a look at this video and be really reflective as you look at this video. And as you look at the video, we want you to, before you start it, Matt, we want to ask you that you watch and notice, what do you notice? What do you wonder? And perhaps what do you even see in yourself? Keep those things in the back of your mind as you take a look at this video. We can start the video.
Hey, John. Are you finished with that project analysis report? I stopped by Jeremy's desk. He said you're still working on it.
Finishing it right now. It would have taken too long to get Jeremy up to speed on this project, so I decided to do it myself. I should have it ready for you in about the next hour.
Okay. Look, we just need it by close of business so that we can review it before the client meeting at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
I know. It'll be ready, don't worry.
Hey, John. Mr. Fujiyama's on the line for the third time today. He said he really needs to talk to you. Can I forward him to Marie? She is the lead on his project.
No, Teresa, I really need to handle Mr. Fujiyama myself. He's a very important client. Tell him I'll call him back in 1 hour.
Okay.
Hey, John, you ready to go to lunch?
I don't have time for lunch today. I am too busy. I know we were going to discuss the meeting with the IBT group tomorrow, but...
It's okay. I already put talking points together. You want to see them?
No. Actually, I think you should use mine. I wrote these down in the Starbucks line. Use these. Sorry, I wasn't able to text them to you on the phone, but I was talking with a client.
Okay.
John. John. John.
Sorry, I was just resting my eyes. What time is it? Oh no. Oh no. It can't be 3 already. What am I gonna do?
John, calm down. What's going on here?
Well, I was up late last night working on these projects, and I guess I just fell asleep. I can't believe this. I try as hard as I can, but I just can't seem to keep up. And I feel like I've only had about 2 hours sleep since I got promoted a month ago. Oh no, and I still have to call Mr. Fujiyama back.
John, come into my office and we'll discuss this further.
Well, no, really, I can explain everything, please. I mean, I know you hired me because I'm the guy that gets things done. I still am that guy. I just need some time. I just gotta get...
Take a deep breath and come into my office. We need to talk about delegation.
So, with that, thinking about the video, while you were watching, what were some of the things that you noticed, wondered, or perhaps even saw in yourself? And if you'd like, you can come off chat or drop them, or come off mic, I'm sorry, or drop them in the chat. What are some things that you noticed, wondered, or perhaps saw in yourself from that video? We'd love to hear from you. I know for myself, I've seen wanting to do it all. Not now, but the past, Carla. Anyone else, any takers that would like to share? Yes, he was stretched so thin, there was no way he could be effective. Yes. Do you think he was stretched thin by choice, or he had too many tasks that were assigned, or he was trying to do all of the tasks? That's just a wondering for Hobbins. I don't know. Anyone else? All of the above. Okay.
What did you notice on his desk? Like, what are some of the objects that you may have noticed? Mhm.
Okay, I notice leaders also need help. They can't do everything alone. It should be a teamwork. Yes, it should be a teamwork. I agree. And the leader has to be willing to ask for that help and encourage their team. Yes, the energy drink, the 12-hour energy drink. Any others? So what we want to begin to help you think about and do is, when you think about your current responsibilities, we'd like to take a few moments to do a keep, share, let go activity just for yourself, where you're going to take 3 minutes or so, and we'll kind of keep track of the time, to think about your current responsibilities. What are 5 current responsibilities that you have on your plate? And I'm just reading them. You don't have to share them. Just we want you to take a moment to do this because it'll begin the groundwork for what you could take from this session to begin reframing delegation. So what are your 5 current responsibilities on your plate? What responsibilities are there that only you can do? So as you list them, maybe identify which are the ones that only you can do, and then what are some responsibilities that perhaps you could share with others? And then what are some responsibilities you can let go completely that will not impact your role negatively? So we're going to give you 3 minutes to jot down that list of 5, identify what perhaps you could keep, what could you share, and what could you let go. Do we have a timer? I can start. So this was just the beginning stages, but we want to give you an opportunity to let it go, as they say. So we are going to ask for you on the count of 3 so that we can waterfall our let go responsibilities in the chat. And I'll be Jennifer and I and Matt perhaps will be adding our responsibilities too. So we're going to ask for you to drop in the chat. So type it, don't share it yet, but on the count of 1, 2, 3, when I say 3, then we're going to waterfall the responses. So we just type, and then once I get to 3, we'll hit send. Oh, I see Christy shared. But anyone else, hold off, just type it in the chat, and then we're going to send it all at the same time.
No, she was just saying it's hard for a leader to let go of control. We had chatted back and forth.
Oh,
Yeah, that wasn't her response. And you don't have to put all 5 of your current responsibilities. You may just choose one, or choose one of each. One you're going to keep, one you're going to share, and one you're going to let go.
yeah. I was thinking to let go. That's what I was going to put because we're letting it go so that
Yeah. So, Joe, one let go.
all right, everyone should have it typed. So on the count of 3, drop it in the chat. 1, 2, 3. Let it go.
So you're going to let go of perfection.
Yeah, that was mine too, Melanie.
Yes. Yes.
Overthinking is another. Anyone else?
Mm. Come on now, let it go. Total ownership.
That's a really good one.
It is.
Any others? Is that everyone? Oh, that's
Oh,
a good
same. Go ahead,
one.
Carla. Matt said saying yes to everything.
Yeah,
I'm an overthinker.
I am too. These are really good. These are
Mhm.
really good. And I think that one that you put in, Christy, is for leaders. And like I kind of shared it a moment ago, it's huge as far as letting others that have the skill set take the lead. And I mean, you're still the leader, but you also have leaders amongst your team. And so they have that skill set, and that could be something taken off your plate. I know it's a very difficult task for many of us. And maybe sometimes even people that you work with as well, and they may not know that yet, but once you begin to recognize the task is getting done, even though it may not be done the way you would do it, it becomes easier and easier to delegate responsibilities to other. And I'm just sharing that from, I mean, research says that, but personal experience. I had to go through that myself in order to realize, like, I can't do all these things. I'm not perfect. Um, Melanie, I know you and I have the same thought about that, but releasing and letting others step in and help. And so with that, thank you for sharing. And hopefully, this is the beginning stages of how you can begin to reframe some of those responsibilities that you have. And I'll turn it over to Jennifer for what's next.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carla. I just wanted to piggyback on one of Christy's comments is, sharing skills that others have great ideas about, and is to be comfortable knowing that we don't have all of the ideas and that other people have greater or better ideas than we have. So that project, when we have it in our minds that it's going to look a specific way, that someone else has, they're looking from a different lens. And so the end project is like, oh my goodness, I didn't believe that I didn't think it would be this good. And it is. So we're going to do a quick video again. And as we look at this video, think about, again, what are your notices? What are your wonderings about leadership? And then after the video, I'm going to turn it back over to Carla, and she's going to talk about a delegation mapping. Okay. All right. Thanks, Matt.
As one who has gone through the entire continuum of teacher leadership and is still now a supporter of teacher leadership, I believe that teacher leadership is something that is not only good for students in that it can help improve school outcomes and test scores and all kinds of things, culture, even facilities that we have here at the school, but it also, I believe, enhances the experience of a teacher. One of the things I'm most excited about in our district, and I have been since I've worked here, is that we have the cultural and structural factors in place for teacher leadership to be successful. We have a belief that teacher leadership is encouraged. We empower our teachers to take lead and to take charge of things that they're very interested in.
Some real visual examples of teacher leadership. One is our gym and weight room that's been created with a teacher as the spearhead of that project.
The transformation of not only the facility for me to see, but also the teacher that was a part of this process, because he was given free rein to help make the decisions that he thought would benefit not only the sports teams, but also the classes that we have. The teacher, who, by the way, was an informal teacher leader at this point, was able to lead a huge project and make a real difference for our school.
Our Veterans Memorial, which I was fortunate enough to be part of that committee, was definitely spearheaded by a teacher that we have on staff who was following her own passion. She's been able to make it into a really beautiful memorial as a community centerpiece for us.
So the Veterans Memorial is a great example. It started as a teacher who believed strongly in support of our veterans. The committee was formed. They met and they decided that they wanted to get something concrete here on the campus, but it started as something very small and blossomed into this beautiful thing that we have here today.
It's all of us on the same team working together to make it a better place for the students to come every day. And if we can keep that mindset, you'll never work a day in your life. You'll just be going to school. And it's a really satisfying feeling to have that happen.
I really believe that the culture of teacher leadership that we have here is unique. I think it's something that you don't see in every single school. And I know as a teacher leader myself and now a supporter of teacher leadership, it is something that makes me very excited about coming to school each day. And I think it makes others feel the same way.
So as you watch that video, The guys, he said, informal teacher leaders. So think about when you are going through your buildings and you're going to classrooms and observing teachers, how often do you tap into those informal teacher leaders? Think about teachers who lead PLCs or those who could lead PLCs, um, the distributed leadership model, teacher-led PD, personal growth, building resilience, team development. And so when we tap into those different components, trust you will find some great teacher leaders. So how are we building the capacity for others to lead? Carla?
Are we going to the next slide? Thank you. So with that, and looking at the video, we're going to be moving into some tools and strategies to help you build that shared leadership or smart delegation, looking at who you have, what you have, and how to make that work and lessening your load. And so one of the first things we're going to talk about is the delegation map. Now, you'll be given these tools because we're going to share about 3 or 4 different tools with you, and you'll be shared a folder with these tools in them. So we're going to just do a brief overview of this particular delegation map, which is 3 pages. So Matt, if you can click on the page, you kind of help me walk through that with them, that would be helpful. So with the delegation map, this is kind of the guide to help you, and this, yeah, on this first page is fine. So it helps you as the leader or school leaders identify what to delegate, how to do it thoughtfully, and how to build both trust and leadership capacity in the process, which is kind of what we've been talking about all along this afternoon. Knowing what you need to release from your plate, who to give it to based on the skill set, which would then in turn build trust and help get the job done in the building. So the first thing you want to do is know the difference between the assignment versus delegation. And so if you look at here, we kind of have what's an assignment, which is task focused, step by step, versus outcome focused and trusting the process. So I'm not going to go through every single point of these. We kind of talk about what you want to think about as you're mapping out what you want to begin to delegate, especially when you start to think about that list that we just had you do as far as what you were going to share. This is where you can take that list of share and kind of compare it to this map and how you want to share that information. So knowing the difference. And then step 2 is the delegation framework, which is clearly identifying the purpose, then choosing the right person, empowering the process, and then plan checkpoints along the way. And that's just, again, once you've identified that I'm going to be giving, similar to what they just said, they built that veterans area that in the shared leadership video, knowing what was the purpose. It was a teacher that was really passionate about that. So that was the right person. It empowered her to kind of get the job done. It was a big impact for their building. And then, when and how will you communicate the steps along the way? So that would be the step 2, the delegation framework. Then moving on to 3 would be the delegation strategies. The people come first. You want to look at the strength based approach and then the growth oriented approach. You want to build capacity, but you also want to make sure you're using people that have, again, the skill set. And we've said that a lot over and over, but again, if you're dealing with something as we have as an example here, asking your tech savvy staff to kind of lead the tech PDs in the event that is, you're using some type of new grading platform or you have a new reading resource and teachers need to be able to learn how to get to the test or some of the resources. Having someone with that skill set lead it instead of you. It's a different voice. I mean, I hate using the word buy-in, but it would be buy-in because you have a staff member up there, not you, sharing the work. So you want to look at it from the strength base, but then also knowing it's an opportunity to build growth in your staff. The next part is having communication protocols, the kickoff stage, and then the excuse me, midpoint check-in. And then finally, I believe it's fine, we have one more. But the recognition menu is a public, private, career. And then scrolling down to the next page, the scenario planning, which this is detailed. I'm not going to read through all of that, but once you get through the first 5 steps, then this is where you'll actually plan out the context of what you're going to delegate. So going back using the shared leadership video, the principal kind of talked about how he got to the point of having the teacher lead the veterans area that was done in the building. So using that as an example and walking through the first 5 steps that I just shared with you in a brief explanation, this would get you to the point of, again, releasing some of the responsibility, getting your staff involved for the betterment of, the school community. So that was the map, which was the first tool that we will share or we're sharing, but also would be in the folder. The next tool Jennifer will be sharing, which is the readiness checklist, and I'll let her talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, Carla. So after you do your mapping, of course, we thought about, well, we need a checklist to make sure that we have dotted all of our I's and crossed all of our T's. And so when you think about this checklist and just go through, and of course, I'm like Carla, I'm not going to go through every single last one of them, but we do want to make sure that we have clarity and intent. So have I clearly defined the outcome that I expect? Because sometimes we give, tasks, we delegate tasks, but we don't explain, "Oh, this is the expectation. This is what I want it to look like." Just like with students in the classroom, often teachers will give an assignment and they will give uh, some explanation or direction, but students are still kind of confused because they don't know exactly what the teacher is looking for. So we want to give some type of exemplar, or at least give them an idea of what that exemplar is going to look like. Have I outlined due dates and progress checkpoints and success criteria? That is important. And then think about the right person. Carla talked about this a little bit, and the right reason. So sometimes, like in the delegation map, it said in number 6, like the person who may volunteer. Sometimes people do not step up, and we all know this. So you might want to tap into that person who you've had your eye on for quite some time, and you're saying to yourself, they're going to be a great leader one day. Why one day? Why not now? So tap into them, and ask yourself, am I delegating to someone based on their strengths or growth goals? Okay, sometimes we focus on the challenges that people have and not their strengths. Have I considered the teammates' current workload and availability? Because if they don't have the capacity to add anything more, then it might not be time for you to tap into them as that next leader. But with that in mind, next year, how about, think about taking a load off of them so that they have that space to become that leader that you see in them. And communication support. It is so important that we provide support to the people who report to you. Have you discussed the task with them? And have you invited questions? Like, what questions might you have? And being available and not being overwhelmed, or how can I say it? Agitated when they come to you with questions. Because when people have questions, a lot of times they are coming with questions for clarity, or they have not yet processed everything. So they're just trying to process it. And so again, so it goes back to making sure that you are identifying the right person and for the right reason. And did we agree on how to get started, and when and where can they go for help? So they may not go to you as the leader, but there are other leaders in your building who they may be able to go to get that support. Resources, documentation. Have you provided the tools, the information, or the authority needed to complete the task? So when we hand over a task, we have to make sure that the person has all of the resources, all the tools, and the permission to go forward without you. Or if you're doing it in chunks, I might have finished the first section, excuse me, of the task, and I'm saying, okay, I'm checking in because it's important that you check in with that person, and you're saying, okay, great job. They have given you an overview, and now you want to go to the next part two. And after you give them the go ahead, they're moving along, and then you might say to them, okay, we've completed part one and part two. Go forward with the rest of it, and just I'm waiting to see the end result. Okay, because they have to feel as if they have the ownership of that particular project or task. And then recognition and follow through. Just like we told students to make sure we celebrate success, even if it's in small increments, we also have to celebrate adults the same way. So, have you planned how you're going to recognize and appreciate their contributions to the task? Are you prepared to give specific positive feedback when the task is done? Celebrating them individually or independently, but also celebrating them in front of their peers. It makes them feel valued. It makes them feel as if they want to take on another project, or they may even desire to go ahead and go into leadership. Okay. All right, so again, some tools and strategies for smart delegation. We talked about those communication tips that empower, and we want to say that people are already empowered, but when you build that leadership capacity, then they are empowered and their empowerment becomes stronger and stronger. So you're saying to them, I trust you to lead this. You've got the insight for this role. Avoid hovering over. Don't be a helicopter leader. Okay. That's that microaggression we don't want to do. So we're making sure that we replace with scheduled check-ins so that it looks like you're not your progress monitoring, but in a way that it doesn't feel as if you have that microaggression mindset. So maybe set a timeline. Let's check in every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. Let me see where you are. If you have any questions, make sure you just text me or email me real quick, or you can see, this person if it's something that's minor, and make sure that we are providing that reassurance. We are respecting our teammates, their workload that they already have, and that they are not overwhelmed with what we're giving them. And then we have to ensure that we are helping them to shift their mindsets. This is not in my job description to, I get to lead this. Okay. Communication, that's a two-way street, not one way. So when we are building the capacity for leadership, we have to set some of our biases aside, and we also have to set our ego aside and give that ownership over. Let it go. Right. Please advance. All right, this is Carla. Now we're going to do this one together. 5 levels to consider. Okay, Carla, you want to take the lead on this?
So with number one, we kind of talked a lot about this as far as doing it all by myself and making sure this is the area that we don't want to spend a lot of time in. We're going to talk, Jennifer and I, more about 3, 4, and 5, but we did want to highlight, where oftentimes many of us start off as leaders and sometimes continue on, that it's just faster to do it myself, which we heard both of some people share earlier. Avoid asking due to feeling guilt, or like you have to know it all, you must do it all, you're the leader, and looking at it as if you're losing control or not being in control because you don't have the answer, and you're looking for help from someone else, when really we want to be in that area of utilizing our team. So, and that's the entry level we want to stay away from. You want to do the second one, Jennifer, and then we kind of bounce, yeah.
Sure. All right. So when we talk about sharing with hesitation, I want to delegate something simple or a familiar task only that I know they can do without a doubt. concerned about quality or control. Yeah, I've been there. I think Carla has been there because you want to make sure, and that sounds like a lot of you have been there as well. We want to make sure that it is perfection. And so that might be why, no, I'm gonna hold on to this. I'm gonna hold on to this. It's just like when you're cleaning out your closet and you have those three buckets to keep, throw out, and donate. And sometimes we end up putting more in the keep bin than we do in the throw out or donate because we're saying, oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, so I'm going to hold on to this. Oh, I'm going to use this next year. I can find something. And so the same way with tasks, we just hold on to it. And then those infrequent check-ins. Um, we do it, we share, but it's with hesitance. Okay, Carla's, I'll do number 3 and I'll do 4. And then I'll throw it back over to Carla for number 5.
And so these are the areas that we really want to live in, work in, and have fun in, really, with our staff, 3, 4, and 5. Intentional planning and communication, where you want to, again, set those clear outcomes and expectations. And once you do that with the person you're delegating to, then you plan the check-ins to make sure things are on task. And that's where, some of us, when we feel that guilt that we talked about in number 1 or giving it to someone else, it gives you a little bit of control when you have that check-in and dialogue to see how things are progressing as far as the task that they've been assigned, or the project. And then consider timing and capacity when you're talking about assigning a task and who's doing it. Before.
Okay, coaching and developing others. So we've been talking about that quite a bit, making sure that we are delegating with growth in mind. Okay, maybe they are not right there, but with this task, they'll be a little further along. And so we are always wanting to build that leadership capacity because we know great leaders produce greater leaders. So if you have a lot of people who are under you with with leadership skills and you are not cultivating their genius, then we might want to do a little reflecting and then making sure that we are surveying our teams. Who are our aspiring leaders? What are their interests? What are some of their strengths? Leadership does not always mean that they are going to be an administrator. They could be a teacher leader. They may want to, like in the last video, they may want to take on a project that involves, the students in the school or something major in the school. Making sure, again, we cannot say this enough, to make sure that you're providing feedback and recognition. People can't do better if they don't know what they're doing wrong or what they're doing great or what they can do better. So think about when you are doing observations in the classroom, you want to give immediate feedback. We tell teachers to give students immediate feedback so that they can grow faster. Well, we have to do the same thing with adults. The faster you give them that feedback, sitting down and talking to them and not attacking, but saying, oh, I really like the way you did that. And come with data. I noticed that. And then lead that way, making sure that you are building confidence through support. Because if we put someone out there, how do we say, we just throw them out there to, throw them out in the ocean and expect them to swim. And then if they sink, what support are we giving them? Are we doing them a lifeline, a life jacket? Are we jumping in after them? So making sure that we're providing that support. Carla.
Thank you, Jennifer. And this is really piggybacking off of much of what Jennifer just said. Once you coach and develop and kind of train up those that are taking on these roles and responsibility, you are creating more leadership and empowering those that are there on your team, teachers, teacher leaders, what have you. So you're building the leadership in others. You're celebrating and sharing that leadership, the wins. You want to make sure that you do that once the task is completed. Similar to going back to the video, we can see that teacher was celebrated for the work she completed, and making sure that the delegation is aligned to the vision and culture of your school building. So when you look again at 3, 4, and 5, this is the area that you really want to live in when you start to consider who can lead next? Who can be the person to take some of those things off of your share plate? You know what you're letting go of completely, but then what are some things that you said you were going to share? And as you think about that, 3, 4, and 5 is where you really want to lean into when you begin to work with them. And I'm looking at our time, so we can move on back.
All right, thank you so much, Carla. So this is another video. We hope that we haven't over videoed you, but this is called Journeys, and it's about leadership, motivation, and growth. So think as you're watching the video, think about what is one task that you will delegate this week, and to whom will you delegate that task? Thank you, Matt.
A leader is someone on a journey who inspires others to go with them. There are a lot of people who think they are good leaders, but in reality, they are only good managers. They are managing their team well day to day, but they are not going anywhere. And you cannot lead someone somewhere you are not going. People don't want to go to a job with a manager. They want to go on a journey with a leader. They want to be challenged, to compete, to make an impact, to break records, to reach new milestones, to feel the thrill of victory and the sting of defeat. As Helen Keller once said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Or how about Charles Lauer, who once said, leaders don't force people to follow, they invite them on a journey. And so as leaders, we must cast the vision of an inspiring journey ahead. If we do this, the journey will take life, and the right team will naturally follow. And don't be afraid of casting a vision of a journey that seems impossible. Remember what Tony Robbins once said, the only impossible journey is the one you never begin. Just start moving forward. The details you'll figure out along the way. As Jeff Johnson once said, the best journeys answer questions that in the beginning you didn't even think to ask. As a leader, your team has 4 questions for you to answer when it comes to the journey. Where are we going? Why? How do we get there? And where are we now? Where are we going? That is your destination, your vision, your goal. Why? That is your mission, the why behind what you're doing. It's what will give you the drive you need to push through the storms along the way. How do we get there? That is your map, the strategy and plan each member of your team needs to execute in order to reach your destination. Where are we now? That is your coordinates, your scorecard, because you can't improve what you don't track. And at the end of the day, people want to know where they stand, so tell them. And challenge them to be better today than they were yesterday, and better tomorrow than they are today. So the question is, what journey are you leading your team on? Whatever it is, make it a clear and inspiring one. And remember, along the journey, you can always adjust your sails and point them in a different direction, but you must always be going somewhere. Martin Luther King Jr. said it best when he said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Once you finally reach your destination, bask in the glory with your team. Then, close that chapter, saddle up, and immediately begin the next journey. Your team will follow.
And so we want to leave you with this quote by Sheryl Sandberg. If your presence doesn't make leadership better, your absence will make it worse. Next slide.
Who can lead?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Carla. Oh, who can lead next on your team? Maybe you are a superintendent. Which principal might step into a superintendent role? What teacher might step into the principal or assistant principal role or another leadership role? What about the counselor? What might they step into? Or the next student? So you have many leaders. How did the guys say informal leaders in your building, in your district? Who can lead next? Carla, I'm gonna throw it back over to you.
You say I was off on another, I apologize. We hope, and thank you so much, Hobbins and Christy. We see your comments about the tools and the strategy. So that's perfect because we were hoping that you found this useful, something that you can take and apply as soon as you leave this session. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out either to myself or Jennifer, because we are here to help and here to help you let go and share the mission there in your building or school district. And with Jennifer, did you have any final thoughts?
No, always, I just like to say thank you for being in community with us. Thank you for being here. Without you, there would be no Carla and Jennifer, not at Wayne Risa anyway. So we thank you for joining us, and we hope that there's something that was said today, or a video that you watched that inspired you to build the capacity of leaders in your district or your school. Have a great evening.
You're welcome. Thank you again.
Thank you.